Voices Breaking Boundaries began our living room art productions in about 2006-2007 when artist Oscar Sonnen, who used to work with us, remembered the living room art productions in Los Angeles, and they also happened all over Europe. Where we converted people's homes into art galleries. We pushed the furniture out, use all the rooms, and we install art. In fall 2009, we began a brand new series based on the living room art production idea. We created a theme called Honoring Dissent, DISSENT/Dissent, DESCENT. And the goal of the productions is to honor people who have taken risks to speak out, which is really the mission of Voices Breaking Boundaries, and also to honor dissent, DESCENT, which is to honor history and remember. Because one of the biggest failings, one of the biggest weaknesses is that history gets often lost or is interpreted in a manner where social justice and the people, the true people who speak out, are forgotten.
I'm very involved within the community. I have worked trying to establish.
I only knew your father through your love and devotion and his wonderful life, and I think that he, from what I've seen and what he's written, he had a profession, but above all, he was a citizen.
This particular show was in memory of my father, Dr. Mohammad Sarwar, who passed away in Karachi in 2009. And he was a very well-recognized activist in Pakistan. He was a medical doctor, and in 1953, he began the student movement in Karachi, which is my home city. And through that movement, he galvanized a whole force of students, and they all came together from all the different universities, and they fought for basic rights.
It was a very brave thing, because he really ended up being a target for all of us. And that's the kind of person that Daniel has always been. If you have to speak out, you have to speak out, even if it hurts yourself or your organization.
A very integral part of the productions is that the home that we use has to have connection with the person that we're honoring. So in this case, of course, it was my father. I'm from Pakistan. And we simultaneously, as our house is on the Houston's East End, which is a Latino community, we honored activist Daniel Bustamante, who is not as well known as he should be. He's been part of the Latino movement, Chicano movement for 40 years, practically. He was part of the movement with Dolores Huerta, Cesar Chavez. He also began La Raza Unidad, the first independent political party in this country, in Texas. And of course they did not win, but he was part of that movement and he galvanized that force. So it was to honor both of them and to bring those communities together. And the show aimed to create parallels between struggles at a similar time, between movements that were similar as well.
ताल पे ताल ताल दे छूटे हवाएं खेत खेत ने रेत रेत ने फैला दी बाहें आई रे सिंदूरी सुबह आई धुलती जाए सियाही रातों की रातों की रातों की रातों की।
At night, at 2 in the morning, as we were doing all the cleanup, and it was almost like the party had never happened, it struck me, I just sat down and I thought about the home in which I grew up in Karachi, Pakistan, literally on the other side of the world from Houston, Texas. And I realized that my parents, I had pretty much copied what my parents had done in our home, where we would push all the furniture out, lay down a white cloth, and then we would have musicians perform, poets perform, classical dancers perform, and people would gather and the parties would go on till late into the night, and there was always food and there was always drink, and there was activism, and there was conversation about speaking out. And without even realizing it, I had recreated something very similar and shared that with my daughter. This is a production that we plan to continue, and we will work along the same themes of honoring dissent, D-I-S-S-E-N-T, /dissent, D-E-S-C-E-N-T. In the fall, we will be honoring activist Alice Valdez, and simultaneously we'll be honoring the women of the Women's Action Forum. And then the following year, we'll be doing stuff in Houston's Freedmanstown. And our goal is to expand this project to other countries, take it to Mexico and work with activists in Mexico, work in the Bay Area, work with activists in New Delhi, and countries around the world. Really, that is the goal, to move this project. And every time it moves, it would honor an activist in the community where we take the project. That is what we are doing with our Living Room Art series. We cannot wait to take it on the road.
खुले जो दरवाजे तो देखा हर शय थी नहाई, उजली उजली सी थी मेरी तन्हाई रे, बदली बदली सी बदली मेरे अंगना में थी छाई, वीरानी रानी बनके मेरे पास आई।